Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is James McGreevy, Mayor of the Township of Woodbridge. Let's have a warm Woodbridge welcome for our President, Bill Clinton. Thank you. Thank you. We the people of Woodbridge, Mr. President, we the people of Woodbridge are honored to have been chosen to send a most important message to this great nation. The message is simple but important. It is clear, and it goes to the heart of the nation's health and the nation's well-being. Whether from Fords or Fresno, Wyoming or Woodbridge, today we declare the value of our youth and our health. There is also a second message today, a message about leadership and courage. Our nation is fortunate to have a president who is willing to confront and to challenge the major lobbying powers who exercise all too much influence in Washington. Particularly in grappling with the nation's health care, from our youth to our senior citizens. There are vested interests who have traditionally harmed the health of the nation. From protecting Medicare and Medicaid to confronting the tobacco lobby and the polluters, the President has demonstrated time after time his willingness to defend the public good. As the National Cancer Institute has documented, cigarette smoking is related to 1 out of every 5 deaths in the United States. Indeed, every day in the United States, more than 3,000 young people become regular smokers. More than 1 million new smokers annually. 90% of all new smokers are young people, 18 years of age and younger. Tragically, smoking becomes a dangerous habit which eventually leads to addiction and disease. Kick Butt Day is dedicated to the need to educate our youth as to the dangers of smoking and convince them to make a personally thoughtful decision to avoid the scourge of cigarette smoking. We must bear personal responsibility for our decisions and our healthcare choices, while recognizing peer pressure. Ultimately, every student, every adult makes a decision which impacts their health and their future. Today, we are reminded of the words of the late President John F. Kennedy when he wrote, "It takes great courage to do what you think is right, even though it may mean the dislike and criticism of your friends and neighbors." President Clinton, as did President Kennedy, is calling upon the youth of our nation to take action. Today, we take that necessary step and say no to cigarettes and cigarette smoking. Mr. President, we are deeply honored that you have chosen this good and decent community to share your message for the future of our children and our nation. On behalf of the entire community of Woodbridge, we are grateful for your leadership, your determination, your courage to lead this charge. Mr. President, we thank you. And at this time, my friends, I would like to introduce another great friend of Woodbridge who has been in the forefront of tackling this issue. Ladies and gentlemen, I present our Senator, Frank R. Lautenberg.
Well done. Very well. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor. Mr. President, welcome to Woodbridge. We're delighted to have you here, and I think we ought to reiterate just how we feel about it. Show the President. This is just one of the New Jersey communities that are working to protect our young people from the tobacco companies. And I'm pleased to be here to kick butt with all of you on Kick Butts Day. Now, I learned a long time ago how smart young people can be because one of my daughters, my youngest one in fact, said to me one day, "Daddy, why do you smoke?" This now goes back over 25 years. And I said, "Well, I enjoy it." And then, you know, after dinner, she said, "But today we learned in school," she must have been 7 years old. She said, "Today we learned in school that if you smoke, you get a black box in your throat." And she said, "Daddy, I love you, and I don't want you to have a black box in your throat." It took me about 2 days, and smoking was over with me. I realized that that child was smarter than I was. As your senator, I've been fighting the tobacco companies by passing legislation to discourage smoking, or should I say, they have been fighting with me. They're powerful, with lots of money and lobbyists behind them. 10 years ago, we had a major battle in the Senate when I wrote the law to ban smoking on airplanes. That was the beginning, and now I'm fighting hard. Isn't it pleasant to be on an airplane without everybody smoke pouring into your lungs? That was the beginning. And now I'm fighting hard to have the tobacco companies pay some of the costs of the illnesses that they create. And it's totally unfair. It's totally unfair to ask the average citizen to pay the bill. Unfortunately, until now, until President Clinton took over, I never had any help from the White House. President Clinton is the first president in history to take on the powerful tobacco companies. He's told the tobacco industry to stop poisoning our children, and he's right, 100%. We have to do something to protect our children from being captured by the tobacco companies, because every day they look to hook 3,000 new smokers among the youth in our country. And that's why it's critical that we move forward on the President's proposal to reduce teen smoking. And that's why we need to kick more butts, so that our children and our young people will learn to say no to tobacco, a drug as addictive and harmful in many ways as cocaine and heroin and the other terrible things that you read and hear about constantly. And you know what? If they do that, if you young people do it, you'll live longer and you'll enjoy your life as you go on aging. That's the difference. Take it from one who knows. Every year, 400,000 persons die from smoking, and most of them because they started smoking in their teens. And once you start smoking, as all of you know, it's hard to stop. And people try until they die. You have a lot of influence on each other, you young people. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your friends. Kick butts. Do it together. To borrow a phrase, friends don't let friends smoke. You won't either, will you? Okay. Great. And now I'm privileged to introduce Jennifer Crea. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. She's a wonderful example of how students have joined the fight against smoking. And so, let's give a great round of applause to someone who's been a butt kicker all year, Jennifer Crea. Thank you.
I would like to thank you all for coming to Woodbridge High School today to welcome our President, Mr. Bill Clinton, to our hometown. Mr. President, a very warm welcome to Woodbridge. I am sure I speak for all of us, the citizens of Woodbridge Township, when I state that I am proud and honored that you chose our town as the site for the initiation of National Kick Butts Day. It is a special and extraordinary occasion to serve as host to someone as prestigious as yourself. We genuinely thank you for this honor. Today, May 7th, is indeed a special date. It is a date that will mark the first National Kick Butts Day, which represents President Clinton's national anti-smoking campaign. This is an especially important event for our township, which educates over 10,000 children and adolescents, all of whom are subjected to cigarettes and their advertisements daily. It is imperative that we understand the messages that you, our president and leader, will bring to us. Young people across the nation, not only those in Woodbridge, New Jersey, need to become greatly sensitized of the dangers inherent in smoking cigarettes. American businesses and retailers, including those in Woodbridge, New Jersey, need to be more attentive to the ages of those to whom they sell cigarettes and related paraphernalia. Most importantly, cigarette companies, including the advertising agencies with whom they are in conjunction, need to be keenly aware of the devastating effects that their youth-targeted ads and slogans have had, as well as the role that they have played in the rise of teenage smoking. On a personal note, I would like to mention my reason for not succumbing to these cigarette advertisements and slogans. Over 20 years ago, my grandmother went into the hospital with throat cancer. With no other alternative available, the doctors removed her voice box and vocal cords. And in order for her to breathe, they provided her with a stoma. So I stand here now, 18 years old, and I have never heard the natural, sweet sound of my grandmother's voice, all because of cigarettes and their vicious effects. Mr. President, as a result of your efforts and concerns, we can regard today as the catalyst for an improved and healthier Woodbridge Township. And now, it is my extreme privilege and honor to present to you the President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Senator Lautenberg, thank you for your presence here and your tireless efforts to help protect young people from the dangers of smoking. Mayor McGreevey, thank you for your warm welcome and your strong leadership and the powerful statement that you made today. I hope all the citizens who elected you were listening. And Jennifer Crea, thank you. Didn't she do a terrific job? Let's give her another hand. I want to thank Bill Hype from the New Jersey Cancer Institute and Dave Brown and Harry Carson from the New York Giants for appearing here before me. I thank your superintendent, Lee Seitz, and your principal, Dave Peterson, for making me feel welcome here today. I thank the band for being here today and playing. And I want to thank Professor John Slade and your peer leader Pam Chesky and the students who met with me earlier to talk about their efforts to stem the tide of teen smoking. And I want to thank all of you who came up with these signs. They're great. I love this. They're great signs. In his absence, I also want to recognize one person who's not here, the public advocate for New York City, Mark Green, who came up with the idea for this National Kick Butts Day and organized it in cooperation with the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. He's been working on this now for about 6 years, and I really appreciate his commitment. I want to talk to the young people here a little in the beginning about how this issue of young people smoking, or hopefully young people not smoking, fits into my vision for your lives. I mean, there's a reason that I became the first president ever to take on this issue. And it's not a negative reason. It is true that previous presidents have not done it, and it may be that the power of the lobbies on the other side had something to do with that. But I felt that we had no choice. The vice president lost a sister to lung cancer at a very early age, whom he loved very much. My mother, who died of cancer at the age of 70, smoked 2 packs a day for most of her life till my 8-year-old daughter talked her out of it, much in the same way Senator Lautenberg's daughter talked him out of it. But beyond that, I want you to understand that we are doing what we're doing because I feel we have no choice, and let me explain why. I want all the young people here to grow up in an America that is stronger and more full of opportunity for you than any time in our history before. And I believe that in order for that to happen, it is my responsibility, number one, to try to help provide opportunities for all those who are willing to work for them. Number two, to try to help bring the American people together so that all this diversity, I look out here in this student body and I see the face of America. We have more racial and ethnic groups represented in our great, throbbing, thriving democracy than any democracy in human history. And if we can prove that we can all work together and help each other and respect each other, that will be an enormous asset in the global society of the 21st century. I want our country to be strong and to lead the world for peace and freedom. And in order for all that to happen, we got to have strong people. We have to give you the tools to make the most of your own lives. The first and most important of those is a good education. But you also need a clean environment and safe streets and communities that work and the opportunity to be supported in a strong family. All these things require a partnership between people in public life and private citizens. But none of this will amount to anything. Not the economic opportunities, not the opportunity for America to come together and bridge our differences and be a stronger community, not the strength of your country, not even the quality of the educational system or the fact that we got the crime rate going down and we're continuing to fight for a clean environment, unless you make the decision to make the most of your own life. And it starts with the decision to respect who you are, to respect the resources that God gave you, and to make the most of them. That's what this anti-teen smoking campaign is all about. We now know what the health dangers are. We now know that advertising to the notwithstanding, it is not a glamorous thing to risk your health and your life. The students that I just met with from Woodbridge showed me an incredible collection of tobacco ads and trinkets, T-shirts, hats, and other giveaways, and tobacco products, all of which were found right here in your community, and all of which your fellow students thought were enticing young people to smoke. Now you've got a group of students here, and we recently, just before I came out, I talked with students in 11 cities throughout the country, all of whom are committed to turning this around. And I know that in many ways, the influence of young people on their peers is far greater than the influence of older people, even the president, maybe especially the president. So this is very hopeful. But our administration has issued a challenge to people all across America, and especially to our young people, to create a groundswell of involvement to protect our children from the dangers of tobacco. Those of you who are volunteering in this effort are collecting information about advertising and availability of cigarettes, which can help to save lives. It can certainly help to influence business owners to be more vigilant in checking the age of tobacco customers. You may even do something like young people did in Santa Ana, California, when they got billboard companies to remove cigarette billboards located close to schools. You can help encourage people to stay away from tobacco, and you can take on the message of the advertising. Now, all of these things are profoundly important. You've heard all the statistics, but let me just tell you the one that grips me the most. 3,000 people under the age of 18 start smoking every day. And 1,000 of those 3,000 will die sooner because of it. Oh, maybe they'll die at 60 instead of 65. That may seem a long way away to you when you're 18. Seems right around the corner to me. And those 5 years get a lot more important to you as you go along. Not only that, you want to be healthy while you're living them, if you can. Now, we can't control our genetic makeup. We can't control what may happen to us in an unfortunate accident. Some of us will it's terrible to say, may even become victims of crime. That is no reason for giving up. We should control those things which we can control about our lives. Our obligation is to live as long and as well as we can, to do as much as we can with whatever lot we get in life. We should not be self-destructive. We should do no harm. That's what this whole thing's about. 3,000 kids start smoking every day. 1,000 will die sooner because of it. All the other facts are not nearly as compelling as that. Do you want to take a 1 in 3 chance that you're going to shorten your life? Let me tell you something. This is hard for you to believe, but I can actually remember when I was in high school. I have never missed one of my high school reunions. Never, not a one. Every 5 years, I show up. Every 5 years. I have followed the lives of my classmates. And I am telling you, there are consequences to all the decisions we make. Your country needs you. We need you to be well educated. We need you to be able to raise strong families. We need you to be able to raise good kids yourselves. We need you to be able to make contributions to communities like this one. We need you to prove all the cynics wrong when they say we can't adjust to this new society in which we're living, and no country can be a democracy with as much diversity as we have. We need you for all those reasons. But you deserve the life you are going to be given. Do not throw it away. 1 in 3 chance that you will end your life sooner. That is a lousy bargain for no benefit. Don't do it. I'll tell you something else we know, and it's already been said today, but I want to say it again. About 90% of all new smokers are young people under the age of 18. Almost 100% of people who are actually addicted to smoking start when they're under 18. You know, occasionally somebody will try it when they're 21 or 22 or 25. Almost never does anybody become a regular addicted smoker if they don't start when they're young. That's an important thing to know. I want to say to all of you, I know you can't do this alone. I'm gratified at the willingness of the adults I met today to support you. I'm encouraged by the statements of the political leaders here today in support of this endeavor. I know that there are things that we have to do as well, but I also want to encourage more people in this community to help. Our religious institutions, our churches, our synagogues, in America increasingly our temples and our mosques, people imparting values to young people to stand up and make the most of their own lives and to say no. And again, I say we need you young people to influence one another. We have, as you know, proposed ways to crack down on advertising. Senator Lautenberg referred to it, that make advertising that makes young people think smoking is cool. Last August, I announced the Food and Drug Administration's proposed regulations to make it harder for minors to buy cigarettes by reducing their access to vending machines and free samples, and by limiting ads that appeal to young people. In January, we issued the Sinar regulation, named for the late former congressman from Oklahoma, Mike Sinar, to demand that in return for the federal money they get, states must do more to enforce their own laws. The amazing thing is that it is illegal for children to smoke in every state in America right now, but the laws are not being enforced. Now we say, if you want the federal money, enforce your own laws and do the right thing. In March of this year, we had a meeting at the White House with over 100 leaders in the areas of health, religion, sports, business, education, and other services to children to highlight what they are now doing to help prevent young people from starting to smoke and to pledge an even more intense, unified effort. We know businesses have a special role, and I want to talk about this a moment. Businesses, of course, have the legal right to sell cigarettes to adults, but they also have a legal and moral responsibility to prevent the sale to minors. I met with a number of your students, as I said before. 3 of them told me they went out to see if they could buy cigarettes. 2 were 16. One tried 10 times, the other tried 5. They were 15 for 15 in buying cigarettes and not even being carded. 15 for 15. One was 13 and smiled in a way that said, I know I look 13, not 18. He was 3 for 8. And none of those 3 people that sold him those cigarettes thought he was 18 years of age. Not a single one. So there's a responsibility on the part of business to do better. I was proud to announce at the White House in March that the chairman of the A&P supermarket chain will recommend to his board this summer that the whole chain discontinue the use of cigarette vending machines by the end of the year. And you may have heard that just last week, the 3M Company and the Interfaith Center for Corporate Responsibility reached an agreement that 3M would no longer accept tobacco advertising for its billboards, and good for them. This is the first major national media company to take this step. I want to commend Livio De Simone, the chairman and CEO of 3M, and Reverend Michael Crosby of the Interfaith Center for this remarkable accomplishment. And finally, I'd like to say something to the tobacco companies. Of course, the students have to do their part. And ultimately, the decision is theirs. Of course, the rest of us have to do our part. But you in the tobacco business now surely see the clear, emerging consensus in America that advertising, billboards, and promotions should not appeal to the children of this country. And so I urge you, be responsible. Do not stay outside of and apart from this debate. Do not engage in practices the American people have rejected. Agree to the common sense restrictions proposed by the FDA last year on advertising that affects children. Join with us. Do the right thing. Don't do the wrong thing. Do the right thing. Do it now and help us. Play your role in stopping this problem before it starts for millions and millions and millions of young Americans. I say again to you in closing, the young people here in this auditorium and throughout this country, those of us who are my age and older, we've lived most of our lives. Whatever happens to us, we probably have more yesterdays than tomorrows. This is about you. It's about your future. It's about the kind of America you will live in. It's the kind of America you will leave for your children. We are moving into this era of absolutely unimaginable possibilities, in which, if my generation does its job right, we will leave to you more security from being destroyed from without, more harmony of people working together in this country, and more opportunity than any generation of Americans has ever known. But you have to take advantage of the opportunity. And that means you need a good education. It means you're entitled to good schools and safe streets and a clean environment. But first it means you have to decide to do no harm to yourself. Begin with that. Thank you, and God bless you.